Is there a behavior or a habit that you are ready to change? Dr. Cheryl here. I'm talking today on how you can change your behavior without engaging in a tug-of-war every time you get triggered for that behavior. Is that possible? Is that something you'd like to do? Well, listen up. When you try and simply change the behavior by stopping doing something or replacing it with something else, you are focusing on the outside behavior. And yeah, it can become a tug of war because you have so firmly established that old groove of that behavior so that it's the default pattern that's going on in your system. So therefore, if you focus on the behavior every time you want to do something different, it's in direct conflict from what you have established already. If instead you turn it around and focus on what you are becoming, who you stand for, what that behavior gets you, then it's a whole different ballgame. It's turning it around from the inside out rather than the outside in. When you can focus on the person you want to be, who you're becoming, what you stand for, then the behaviors support that. For example, I had a doctor that I consulted, and he was also my mentor for teaching homeopathy. In one appointment, I asked him, what should I eat? How should I eat? The only thing that he told me was to eat gluten-free. Now, because of what he was teaching us about homeopathy and reactional mode and knowing my reactional mode, I understood that if I wanted to be healthy, if I wanted to work with that reactional mode, I had to eat gluten-free. And he was telling me that. I realized that I valued health more than baked goods, at least gluten baked goods with wheat. And therefore, I only had to make one decision. The one decision I made was I'm a person who values my health and doesn't eat gluten 100%. Now that's a 180-degree turnaround because for years I was a baker and I loved to make bread, cookies, pies, all sorts of creative things in the kitchen using wheat. Therefore, all of a sudden, I was going to eat gluten-free. And you know what? I did not have to make a decision every time it was confronted me because I already made the decision of the person that I wanted to be. I want to be healthy, and in order for me to do it in my condition, I need to eat gluten-free. Therefore, anytime I go to a restaurant and they put a basket of bread on the table, it just doesn't even register because I'm focusing on eating healthy so that I don't even consider eating bread with gluten. Now, by starting from the inside out, we focus on what you are becoming, what you stand for. So it might be health again, but it's through being a non-smoker or through someone who is fit in their body and therefore exercises. Or it could be any multitude of health habits or any kind of habits, mental or social habits, anything. You can apply to any habit. But since I help people establish new routines in their lives in order to support them, this is really my focus, is what is supporting the healthy you. What do you need to become? What do you stand for? And therefore, each time you make a behavior, each time you have a habit, each time you do something, that is a vote for, that is evidence that you are that kind of person. Every time I tie up my shoes and I go for a walk, I validate that I am the kind of person who loves being in a fit body. And I value that for my health and for my well-being. Every time you drink a glass of water in the morning so that you start your hydration, that is showing what you stand for. I am recommending then to turn this around from what we usually do. Instead of looking at the behavior, we're going to look at the person you want it to be and see what behaviors support that. Are you becoming through these new behaviors? If you would like some support for that, I have an offer. I am beginning a 2020 Vision Challenge, which is based on my book, 2020 Vision, Action Guide to the Year 2020. This is chock full of practices to, first of all, introspect to see who you are, who you're becoming, and then decide what practices will support that. I especially focus in on seasons and the cycles of nature so that we actually can be supported by nature when we attune to those cycles and make everything easier. That's from the inside out too. When we become in tune with those cycles, then we don't have to make all these outward decisions we know from the inside out. Please join me. I have a challenge. So it's more than please join me. I'm challenging you to become the person you want to be by joining with me in this 2020 Vision Challenge. It is from the Chinese New Year through February 2nd, which is Groundhog Day, which are very auspicious days in the cycles of nature, which I talk about in other videos, and you can find out when we're doing this challenge. Do click the link and find out more about how to join me in the 2020 Vision Challenge that accompanies this book for making the most of becoming who you want to be in this new year, 2020.